Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Wayne Hoffman, president of Idaho Freedom Action. We've been spotlighting some really fantastic state legislators. Yes, we have them. We do. There are some really fantastic state legislators here in Idaho. And one of them is a friend of ours, Cindy Carlson, from District 7. And what an improvement over your predecessor. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
So tell us about your first legislative session. How was it? How was it different from what you were expecting, and so on?
Oh, I guess the one of the words I want to say is wow. Um, I think it was about what I expected. Um, I thought we would get more done legislatively, but and I think we did. We got more done than I realized. I'm a perfectionist, so I like to I go on a mission and I try to get that done. And so whatever we didn't get done this time, I plan on working hard to get some of the really important issues addressed again next session.
How hard is it to be a conservative in the state Senate? Or is it easy? I don't know. You tell me.
Um, hmm, hard. It it's hard because people stereotype you and I have it's not really hard for me. You have to go into it with the mind of sticking to your principles and not wavering. And that's not hard for me because I believe I ran for office for the right reasons. And it was not to move my career and go up a ladder. It was to do what I'm supposed to do while I'm there and then someday head home.
But to be clear, you're not in the majority
No,
between Republicans who are kind of left of you and the Democrats. They make up the majority in the chamber.
that's correct. I am part of a minority. Yes, you're correct.
So you're on the Senate Education Committee. What are the things that you learned while you're on that committee, and what are you most proud of that committee accomplished?
Let's
Because
being
at
on the
least
committee.
there you are you are in the majority.
Yes, in the committee we are in the majority. We tend to we could pass great stuff out of that committee, but as it goes over to the House side, the Education Committee is not conservative, and they do not pass great legislation that we would pass through committee. So there's kind of a we kind of have a stalemate with getting good things done in education at the moment.
Hmm. But you did at least you passed a bill creating education savings accounts, which got to the Senate floor, wasn't approved there. What do you do next year as a follow-up to try to move education choice, given that the legislature is going to be the same next year as it was this year?
I would like to see, and I'm not sure how, not sure what, the only way I think we can get an ESA bill through both houses is to tie it to funding, school funding. So I'm doing some research on that, looking into it, trying to figure out how that might work.
Okay. Now, also being on the education committee, how much did you know about the University of Idaho's purchase of the University of Phoenix before it happened?
Absolutely nothing.
Really? You weren't like even given a heads up or anything?
No,
No.
no. The legislature, members of the legislature were not giving, as far as I know, any heads up, possibly leadership, but I'm not aware of, I'm not aware of any contact.
So what do you do about that?
Uh,
And are you concerned about it?
well, we're having a meeting today, later today. They're going to brief us and we have opportunity to ask questions and we will be asking a lot of hard questions. I don't believe that, I don't believe it's constitutional. I don't know that we want a whole bunch of extra employees that we can't afford. I I'm actually disgusted by the whole thing, and the lack of transparency is part of the problem here. And I didn't run for office to have lack of transparency. So this is this does not make sense to me.
Yeah, the constitutional questions are certainly huge. Brandon did a article about that, focusing on the lending of the full faith and credit of the state to a 501(c)(3 that the university created, which is kind of
Yeah,
interesting. It's
it,
a real concern.
it is. It's very concerning.
So what legislation are you most proud of that passed?
I'm really I'm really glad that we passed the House Bill 71, the gender stopping the gender mutilation of children. I believe that people should be able to make that decision once they become an adult. Um, and it was the puberty blocker component to it. I'm really happy that our legislature was willing to pass that, and the governor was willing to sign it. Um, there's other legislation that I'm not so happy about, but
What would that
that was
include?
one. That what's that?
What would that include?
That would be the library bill that I worked on with Representative Crane. Uh,
That's the
as you
bill
know,
that says you have to, not allow kids to have access to obscene materials in the library.
correct. And
So
go ahead.
no, what are you going to do as a follow-up for that? I mean, how are you going to get that moving along in the 2024 legislative session if you couldn't get the governor to sign it?
Well, we passed it from both houses, which is a feat on its own. The governor not signing it obviously is a problem, but we were only one vote shy of actually it becoming law. So it's close. We could run it the exact same way. It's possible we'll get it passed again. I believe the the big ticket item for this is maybe do door knocking and letting people know what's showing them at their front doorstep, what's actually being provided to children in our state. Um, that could be a strategy, but we just need to get the word out what's going on. A lot of people have no idea that it exists. They just can't wrap themselves around the fact that this material is being given to children, and it's okay with schools and libraries, public libraries.
It's really weird, the cognitive dissonance on that, because we've done report after report after report showing that it's in Idaho's public libraries and school libraries, and yet despite that, you still have people who will swear to you that is not in any of the public schools or any of the public libraries in Idaho, which is just really weird. I don't understand that.
The messaging from the libraries and the schools is that it doesn't exist, and that is not true. If you are a smart adult and you actually go looking for it, you will absolutely find it. The schools, in my mind, the schools is the I mean, public libraries, it's affecting kids, but for the most part, parents of young children are with their children. But the schools is a problem because we don't know what our kids have access to while they're in school during the day. And this material is very, very harmful. The lasting effects of this pornography being allowed to be given to children it creates a lifetime problem. They will know if they're exposed to it at a very young age, they will have lasting effects that none of us even we can't even understand what that's going to do to a whole generation of kids. And to stop it now is so important. We have got to wrap ourselves around the fact that it's there, and we have to do something about it. And even if it's not in the school, they have to have a policy that says they will not allow it in the school, because it's coming if it's not there now.
I just don't understand why libraries are buying that stuff in the first place. I mean, I thought libraries were places for intellectual growth and exploring history and literature and arts and things like that. And now it turns out that the library is just bound and determined to have, books teaching about sex acts in the libraries. Why do you suppose that is? And is there a better way to approach this and just say that libraries can't buy any of this stuff, that books should that the books that they purchase should be more inclined towards intellectual pursuits instead?
First question was they're donating this material is being donated by federal grants and state grants, and the people that are in charge are giving great reviews on these books, and so the librarians are buying them based on those reviews, and then they get them and they realize, I don't even know if some of them even realize what they've got. Some of them do, some of them may not. What was the second part of your question? I'm sorry.
Well, I just don't know why, the focus can't be on libraries being more inclined to intellectual pursuits. It seems like what they're trying to do is they're trying to make material available so that they can appeal to a wide range of constituencies instead of being about intellectual pursuits. You're more likely to find a book on Heather's Two Dads or whatever than you are on, Cicero or something like that in your local library. And I don't understand why that's a thing. I guess maybe you already answered the question, but
I believe so. They're taking like novels and they're changing the novels. They're adding smut. I believe they're doing, some of it's being done just to make it more exciting. I mean, okay, fine. You want kids to read more. That's great if you want kids to read more. But I think the classics without being redone the classics they've been around forever. I don't know why we have to change the way we educate kids. There is no data, no positive data on what it's going to do to those children. Like we have, they're going to, what you feed your brain is what it loves. So if you're feeding a child's brain sick pornography, pictures, allowing the older students to read about sex acts with
through the government, through by the government.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me why it's being pushed, but it is being pushed.
So there was another bill this last legislative session that dealt with pornography on cell phones, and you voted against that bill, which I think was the righteous vote. But have you had to explain that to people? Do people understand the difference between that bill and the library's bill?
I don't think they really do. And I actually would like to see us be able to do something with cell phones for kids. But currently, parents have the ability to put a filter on these phones when they get them. It's the manufacturer that you're requiring to do something versus the government in government schools is providing this material. So the manufacturer isn't necessarily providing pornographic material on the cell phone, but you can, as a parent, you can put a filter on there. And basically, if you hand your kid a cell phone with no filter, you're the one that's providing the pornographic material to your child if they so desire to access it. So I
You
believe that's kind of the difference. And I would like to see us do some legislation, but I'm not really sure how to even go about doing it. I'm trying to research that also.
Yeah, you can activate a filter today if you want to, but the question on that legislation became, okay, the government's going to decide exactly what kind of content your phone's going to be pre-programmed with, and then if you need to use the phone for whatever reason, you have to prove that you're over the 18 and hand over your material to a database that then the government will have access to. And
Which none of us want to be on a database.
yeah, and so that's the distinction. But the bigger problem, of course, is, I mean, you mentioned it really, the to hear the dog in the background. This is what my office is like sometimes. Um, the um there's a bigger problem with regard to devices and kids, which is just the sheer amount of time they're spending on them. I see kids all over the place that they're on phones and tablets. My gosh, if they're not having, if they're not eating food, or maybe even when they're eating food, if they're anywhere doing anything, they're on a device. It's just crazy.
Well, this is kind of a parental issue. We've become really lazy. We're busy ourselves, working hard, and we're allowing our kids to get hooked on their devices. It's the healthiest thing for kids is to send them outside, especially this time of year. I was like, get them outside, get them looking up, get them looking at other kids, get them engaged in just something other than a device. Because what I'm seeing is kids won't even barely look at you because they're so used to just looking at it. They're in that world of that device that they use.
Yeah, it is a huge issue, and you're absolutely right. You go outside, and it has other kinds of benefits. You get vitamin D, you get exercise, fresh air. It's good physically. It's good mentally, and boy, there's just a lot of folks that just aren't doing that right now, which is just tragic.
Yep, we just need to be engaged and encourage encourage people to do the right thing with their kids and realize that they're moldable at this age and they need their attention.
How much of that do you think is actually a thing for the legislature versus something that parents are just going to have to do?
That's a parent thing. I mean, we can help deal with the social issues that have become very glaring, but it's not our job to be the parent. And the parents need to be the parent, and the parents also need to they need to look for themselves, do their own research on what's going on in the libraries and the schools, and they will see what's going on. There needs to be a grassroots effort to really dial down what's going on in everybody's community. I mean, we're just trying to help assist with what they need, but some people don't agree with that.
So what other plans do you have for 2024 with regard to the legislative session that you're hoping to focus in on, pass, block, ask questions about?
Fentanyl is a problem. We need to deal with the fentanyl crisis. We need to deal with ESA, school choice. I ran on that. We have got to have the money follow the students. There's some students that do well in school and some students that would be better off being taught individually in a homeschool or maybe in a charter school. But we need more. I mean, I know we have school choice with the charter schools and the public schools, but parents that we have a faction of parents, those parents that do not have a high income, that do not, they're scared to homeschool. There's some kids that we're leaving behind. So I would love to see the money be able to follow students in families who do not have a lot of money to just pull their kids out and homeschool or send them to private school. So that's a big deal to me. So ESA's funding, education. I would love to see more more cooperative agreements among rural schools, so that if they're offering a subject over here, anyway, just more collaboration to give students a more rounded education. And see, I mentioned fentanyl, ESA, CBDC. I'm concerned about our money situation. So those are, and I'm not going to kind of concentrate on those three at the moment,
Okay. Well, yeah, we're working
or
on
four.
we're working on, I think, all those different issues. So love to collaborate with you. And my gosh, do people understand the difference between you and your predecessor?
I think the people in my district do, for the most part. The people in Idaho and Adams County for sure. I'm not sure about Nez Perce County because he was not in their district previously. Um,
Well,
so he, yeah.
it's pretty impressive, Cindy, and glad to have you around, and look forward to working with you a lot more this coming legislative session, which is just around the corner now that
Yeah.
it's first. Sorry, I hate to break it to you. Just enjoy your summer. Don't even think about it. It'll be fine. Anyway, good to have you on, and thanks for all your hard work, and really appreciate you.
Thank you. I'm just doing what I think I'm supposed to do for my district in the state of Idaho.
I know you are, and that's what's so great. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.